Now, Uri, you came a long way from Israel to Westport.
Yeah, my story was sort of documented in several different genres as well as nationwide, and the stories that when I was a very young fella, maybe about 15 years of age, I woke up one day and I said I'm going to live in Ireland. Don't ask me why, but the story that I sort of developed that dream, and I was listening to Irish music, I was wearing Irish clothes with Irish sort of logos on them, and even though I didn't know what I'm after, I knew that this is exactly where I want to be. And the reason I end up is in Westport itself is because there's another Israeli live in Westport, known to a lot of people. His name is Uri as well. And when I arrived here, we were known as Big Uri and Small Uri. And he had his reputation ahead of him for all the good reasons. And I, very quick after I arrived there, found the love of my life, Lisa Murray, and we got married, and we have a young daughter here called Ella. And I have to admit that my story is that I would put it down to luck, that although I knew all the time that I wanted to live in Ireland, things worked my way. I came here to work in a pub, and after about 3 months or 6 months after being in Westport, I became the bar manager of JJ O'Malley's for a couple of years. And I worked many years in Blause's pub together with Damon. And now I'm working as a milkman to make a living, but I'm promoting music to make happy life for other people, I suppose.
An entrepreneur.
Well, I wouldn't call it that way. It's not about money, it's about making people happy.
What's the best parts about Westport?
Friendliness.
Friendliness.
Without a doubt. I know it's maybe turning to be a cliche, but from the minute I stepped into Westport, I found very nice people. And the good story about it, for example, to name one, I'll name two people in particular. One is Eamon Cannon, that was my boss from day one, and he took me under his arm, and I kind of owned that much that I always wanted to work in a pub, and he gave me that opportunity. And the funny story is that the first day I arrived to Westport in 1998, it was a Sunday, and I was brought into the West Pub. And I remember not even, the place was very smoky and I couldn't even find my way around, but I was brought to sit with Jack and Margaret Moran. And although I couldn't understand a single word of what they said at the time, they became my very best friend, and to this day I'm very, very friendly with both them and the entire family. Obviously friendly with a lot of other people in Westport, but this was an example to me that although I was an Israeli and Jewish and whatever, no one took any note of that, and they just welcomed me into the Westport family.
What's the biggest difference between Ireland and Israel?
I suppose it's too long to talk. I think the nicest thing about living in Ireland is that people are way more relaxed. And although we are now living in a situation where people are worried about finance and about economic situation, believe me that it's nothing compared to living in the shadow of war and conflict. And there's a lot to be said about living in that kind of freedom.